Hey guys, tonight we're slipping back into time to join the Vikings as they set sail on their legendary journey to America. Picture it. You're snuggled under your favorite blanket, the flicker of fairy lights casting a cozy glow across the room. And maybe, just maybe, your feet are toasty warm inside fluffy socks. Tonight's tale is about those brave, slightly reckless Vikings who thought it would be a grand idea to chase the horizon. You know, like a curious puppy trying to catch its own tail. Spoiler, you probably won't survive this chaotic sea adventure without a chuckle or two. Before you get too comfy, feel free to tap like or subscribe, but only if you're genuinely enjoying the calm around here. And hey, tell me where you're listening from and what time it is over there. I love seeing how far this sleepy little journey reaches. Now, go ahead and lower the lights. Maybe let a fan hum in the background, and let's drift gently into tonight's story together. You wake up on a Viking longship, and the first thing you notice? The smell of the sea. Salty, fresh, and just a hint of adventure. The ship rocks gently beneath you, more soothing than the lullaby of rain against your window. You pull your warm cloak tighter as the wind whispers secrets only the sea can keep. Your fellow Vikings, hair braided and eyes fixed on the horizon, are deep in conversation, and you realize you're part of something magnificent. Honestly, the idea of crossing the vast Atlantic in a wooden boat sounds a bit like deciding to swim with dolphins without knowing exactly how deep the water is. And yet, here they are, ready to navigate uncharted waters like professional explorers equipped with, wait for it, a sun compass and stars. Kind of makes you wonder how we ever survived those canoe-based team-building exercises, doesn't it? Setting sail from Greenland around the turn of the first millennium, these Norse explorers had one thing in mind: finding new lands, and perhaps a bit of fortune. Leif Erikson, the original travel blogger, if you will, he was said to have landed on a place they called Vinland because of its abundant wild grapes. Lemons for lemonade, cancel that. Grapes for wine, am I right? The journey was fraught with challenges equivalent to receiving a text that reads, "We need to talk." A phrase that could incite levels of anxiety akin to navigating treacherous waters. You maneuver your way across the deck, between barrels of provisions, each rocking of the ship lulling you further into a daydream. And there's Erikson, staring into the distance, plotting the course with a kind of determination that could only be rivaled by binge-watching an entire season of a Netflix show in one sitting. And here's the wild part. Historians still argue whether they reached parts of the northeastern seaboard, or did they drift even further down. It's like the Vikings themselves are some legendary Wi-Fi signal that people are still trying to trace. Did they reach Maine? Or perhaps even further south? It remains a debate that scholars throw around like beach balls at a summer picnic. As the crew charts a course into the unknown, you're reminded of trying to set multiple alarms and still snoozing through breakfast. And yet, these fearless sailors seem completely unfazed. The decks creak. The sails snap at the wind's touch, and you can almost taste the salty air mixed with sea spray. But fear not, our heroic Vikings pressed on with a tenacity that's both inspiring and mildly concerning, kind of like watching a cat determined to fit into an impossibly small box. And as the night deepens, the sea fades away into whispers, leaving only you, the stars, and a voyage not yet complete. With visions of distant lands and wooden ships fading into dreams, you drift peacefully into the night. When morning rolls around, the ship crests a wave, and you find you're approaching land. Styling a serious bedhead look, mind you, resembling your hair on those weekends where you'd rather delete all your alarms than face the world. The coastline of what the Norse would come to call Vinland appears before you. It's lush, green, and full of promise, like a new notebook with a motivational front cover you'd never actually read. The Vikings, finally resting their eyes on the new world, began to dock their sleek longship, treating landing as casually as picking up takeout on a lazy Friday evening. Upon stepping on this unfamiliar ground, they were greeted not by horned helmets and shields clanging. Those things are mostly a myth anyway, but by a landscape that seemed serene yet mysterious. Picture the grasslands rolling out like a carpet, inviting exploration, with the trees whispering tales of old. Honestly, you couldn't make this stuff up. Their immediate reaction probably involves more excitement and less quiet contemplation. Maybe something akin to finding out your favorite cafe now serves breakfast all day. They start exploring and taking in the scenery, an act that feels both brave and slightly impulsive. After all, these are the Norse folks known for their fearlessness and incredible urge to roam beyond the horizon, kind of like you wandering through reels at 2% battery. The thrill of discovery is just too hard to resist. Let's hit pause and consider an interesting tidbit. Research indicates that the Vikings might have come across indigenous peoples here, possibly ancestors of the Beothuk. Their interactions' full nature is still up for debate, as records are less than crystal clear, and those involved, unfortunately, didn't leave behind cleverly captioned selfies. Was it harmonious or filled with misunderstandings? Historians still argue whether the Viking settlement was long-term and widespread, or more of a seasonal camping trip with an overly ambitious itinerary. Remember when you accidentally ordered a month-long supply of your favorite snack, convinced you'd need that much? That's probably how it felt when their exploration brought them more than they bargained for. A land rich with resources, which, in theory, was perfect for settling down, like finding a Wi-Fi spot with no password. However, they faced unfamiliar challenges. Wildlife, unfamiliar weather patterns, and the complex dynamics with the indigenous peoples presented challenges that made their homeland of Iceland or Greenland seem more like a familiar old sweater. The Vikings explored, befriended the terrain, and, well, they weren't just any group of tourists. They were productive, industrious folks. They discovered grapes and made wine. Yes, Vikings who were ready to hoist a mug and toast to the unknown, perhaps crafting the first hasty attempts at a wino culture here. They interacted with the environment creatively and jealously, like a teenager with a newfound love for art supplies. Amidst exploring, there's always time for tales, right? The sagas, our historical cheat sheet before Wikipedia, describe all this in detail. These were meant to be part history, part sitcom, possibly drawing the medieval version of LOLs from listeners sitting by the fire. But the stories often take liberties, as they too are prone to, let's call them embellishments, in ways only ancient oral traditions can achieve. As you stand there, taking it all in, it's like you can hear the whisper of their thoughts. You're right there, in that moment, feeling the cool breeze brush against your cheek with a kind of gentle, probing curiosity, as if it's asking what stories you would add to the sagas, with long days stretching into night, filled with the laughter and chatter of people trying to bridge the vastness of a new world with familiar comforts of home. You find yourself wrapped up in their tales, their hopes, their dreams. As the ships bob gently in the surf, waiting to take the Vikings back on another adventure or even home, you close your eyes, letting these echoes of history envelop you like the embrace of a cozy blanket on a chilly night. The waves crash rhythmically against the shore, a lullaby whispered by an ancient ocean coast. Evening comes once more to Vinland, and you find yourself peeking over a grassy hill, watching shadows grow long and mysterious over this newfound land. It's like one of those moments when you stare into your fridge, hoping it'll refresh and present something magically tasty, revealing hidden layers of what lies beneath the surface. The Vikings, nestled in their encampment, start a fire as stars begin to twinkle overhead, providing their own cosmic show and drawing your attention to the boundless sky above. The Norse settlers are no strangers to storytelling, and tonight's tales are as vibrant and winding as a toddler on a sugar rush, filled with sagas of gods and heroics, challenges and triumphs. You can almost see the flames, flickering reflections dancing in their eyes as they recount legends, spinning yarns as comfortably as slipping into pajamas after a long, tired day. And just as you'd send a meme to express what words can't, they use these vibrant stories to unite their community, to share cultures and dreams under the vast, open sky. Here's a smidge of history. These guys might have been some of the earliest Europeans to set foot in North America, long before Columbus. Leif Erikson, a Norse explorer with a knack for epic road trips, aka sea voyages, is credited with leading these voyages. Can you imagine if they had TikTok back then? Showing off that we were here first conqueror energy with a dance video on the shore. While the stories are spun and the warmth from the fire lulls you into that late night dreamy haze, the reality of their situation is a tad more complex. Historians still argue whether the Norse intended to establish a full-fledged settlement or if they were simply seasonal visitors, tasting the delights of this land like you might snack on gourmet samples at an overly enticing buffet. Never quite committing to a full plate, these discussions would likely rival a heated cake versus pie debate at a holiday dinner. Back at the encampment, the Vikings seem to have a unique talent for blending fragility with resilience, like mismatched socks that somehow become your favorite pair. They build shelters, forge tools, and even attempt to cultivate the earth despite the wild unpredictability of the New World's climate, elusive as the search for decent Wi-Fi when you really need it. From these efforts sprout moments of ingenuity, such as when they adapt to the encounters with the native grapevines and learn the art of winemaking. Because, let's be honest, if life gives you grapes, why not transform them into something more fun? Sitting there, it's hard not to get swept up in their quiet determination to carve out a piece of this vast land, their laughter mingling with the crackle of the fire, warming both their hands and their souls. But as much as they are creatures of the day, nightfall brings on an entirely different kind of reflection. You watch as one by one they drift off under fur blankets, whispering good nights that are carried away by the gentle breeze. In the tranquil bubble of this historical moment, the air carries a blend of curiosity and wonder with every breath you draw. Watching the stars above, where ancient navigators sought guidance, you see them as beacons marking not just directions, but dreams. They seem to instill a sense of belonging, a feeling that we're all part of something much greater, yet uniquely our own. As you close your eyes, letting yourself become one with the rhythm of this place, You sense the merging of realities, the past and the present swirling together like sugar in a warm drink. Moments like these remind you just how connected we are to history and stories. No matter how ancient or distant they may seem, you float gently on the edge of dreams, enveloped by the quiet lull of the waves, as the stories from this adventure continue to weave their comforting embrace around you. As morning spills the soft light of a new adventure upon Vinland, you rub the sleep from your eyes, surprised you're already on your feet, ready to face the day like that unexpected email that ruins your Saturday sleep-in plans. The Viking settlement is already buzzing with life, and the kind of industriousness that could put your to-do lists to shame. You stroll through the camp, taking in the sounds of hammers clinking against metal, and the gentle chatter of people working side by side as they prepare for another day in this strange but bounteous land. Their resourcefulness stands out, like the time you managed an entire week's worth of meals from leftover takeout boxes. You watch as they forge tools from local materials, trading with the land itself as if in a silent, mutual agreement. The craftiness of the Norse never fails to amuse. They weave nets, carve wood, and mend their sails with the dedication of a DIY enthusiast deep into a YouTube tutorial rabbit hole. And here's where things get quirky. Imagine this. While iron tools were essential, archaeologists have found traces of something completely unexpected from these ancient visitors: Nordic-style beads. It's as if they anticipated Instagram filters by centuries, determined to leave behind something sparkly and picturesque that would one day be marveled at by history buffs with dirt under their nails. You wander through the encampment, finding your own pace, like scrolling through a late-night feed. Each step you take brings you closer to understanding the complexities of their settlement, one that came with its own set of challenges and rewards. Historians debate their reasons for choosing Vinland, wondering whether these voyages were strategic explorations for trade or simply driven by the Viking zest for discovery and new horizons. Land and resources were certainly desirable, almost like finding an untouched aisle of cereal when everyone else is scavenging the bread. Yet life here, for all its promise, was anything but idyllic. The Vikings had to contend with harsh weather, unfamiliar terrain, and potential tensions with indigenous peoples who perhaps had their own world-altering stories to tell. Despite this, the Norse settlers plowed forward, crafting a life of makeshift stability, much like holding a party in a too-small apartment and somehow making it work. In the spirited daytime rhythms, the settlement feels awash with energy. Yet beneath this industrious exterior, uncertainty simmers quietly, like that random leaf that always lands in your coffee cup, no matter how many times you fish it out. Still, the Vikings press on, driven by whatever mixture of necessity and curiosity compels you to peek inside the fridge just one more time. Naturally, these bold explorers brought more than just physical tools. They carried knowledge and traditions that leached into every aspect of their venture. It's thought that they may have even introduced some livestock to the mix, though historians argue whether this Noah's Ark moment was a colossal success or a logistical nightmare worthy of a sitcom plotline. By midday, the camp feels like a tapestry of action and ambition, strewn with laughter and good-natured ribbing. You join them near the cooking fires, where the scent of stews made with native herbs wafts through the air like an evocative time capsule, taking you right back to scented markers and freshly baked bread. And always, beneath this bustle, lies an undercurrent of stories, With every shared meal, every rhythmic hammer blow on an anvil, they wove tales that would outlast them, binding their community together like an unseen thread. Through all of this, you find yourself ensconced in the comforting embrace of these ancient rhythms. The day wears on in a gentle pulse, a constant reminder of progress in the face of uncertainty. As dusk tiptoes in on hushed feet, the vibrant colors of the sunset drape over the camp, turning everything into a soft, painterly wash. The Norse settle in for another night, and you can't help but feel a little bit more at home here, nestled in this ancient chapter where history whispers and sometimes roars around every corner. With a heart full of stories, you wander into the night, letting the cadence of their lives rock you gently toward dreams, cradled in the spirit of exploration and discovery. Night falls softly, wrapping the Viking encampment like a well-worn quilt on a cold winter's evening. You settle in by the flickering fire, the gentle crackle and pop soothing in the same familiar way that ordering takeout for the third time in a week somehow feels right. The stars above twinkle mischievously, a celestial audience to the tales the Norse would unfurl once more. Tonight's stories, filled with the mishmash of history and mythology, unfold like a tapestry of shimmering threads connecting the fabric of their lives. As you nestle deeper into this world, where reality merges with fable, you can almost taste the wild essence of their adventures in the salted breeze. The conversation, fueled by shared food and drink, perhaps some of that famously lush Vinland wine, turns to humor and jest. There's an unspoken understanding that stories are like fine wine, best when shared, and far better when savored with a knowing nod or the occasional hearty laugh. The way they joke about their voyages, you half expect someone to whip out a hand-carved wooden microphone for a surprise stand-up routine. They embellish sagas such that every story seems poised to be another season of your favorite show, leaving you both entertained and educated, like a mockumentary with way too many inside jokes. And here's a fun tidbit for you. Stories of the Norse voyages were passed down orally through generations, eventually written as sagas, part truth, part fiction, kind of like when someone shares a no-way story that truthfully happened last summer. These sagas moonlight as historical records while bragging about epic exploits and familial shenanigans. There's something endearing about picturing these tough, sea-hardened Vikings embroiled in slightly absurd adventures, like a medieval reality show gone off the rails. As you watch the shadows flicker, the air around the encampment fills with a blend of anticipation and nostalgia, like seeing a refurbished classic car brought back to life on a renovation show. The fire's glow casts everyone in a warm light, not unlike those flattering Instagram filters that make everything seem prettier than reality. Tonight's stories meander as they often do, intertwining with the lore of Norse gods, who, let's be honest, would likely be giving Zeus a run for his divine money in feats of mischief and meddling. With every tale and chuckle shared, you sense a camaraderie that travels beyond time. A feeling that these Viking storytellers might be having more fun around a campfire in the wilds of America than some of us do at weekend brunch. As the night stretches into its own story, historians still argue about whether these tales were more fact or farce. Did they truly encounter mythical beasts? Or were these creatures merely creative metaphors for the unknown perils of their journey? In the lull between stories, the conversation drifts to contemplation of the stars, those enduring guides that have weathered centuries, serving as both roadmap and mystery. The constellations are like old friends, comfortingly familiar, yet full of secrets and stories whispered across time. As you trace them with your eyes, it's easy to imagine how they guided these explorers, even as they evoke a sense of timeless wonder in you. As the fire dwindles and the night deepens, you slip into that dreamlike state of half-awareness, cradled by gentle whispers from the past. The stories linger in the air, weaving their way into the cozy cocoon of night, carrying you toward slumber. You feel the soft pressure of history itself wrapping around you like the coziest of blankets, finally letting the gentle lull of dreams draw you under, as you drift away on the tales of these courageous and sometimes comedic ancient adventurers. The morning sun peeks over the horizon, casting a gentle glow over the Viking encampment and stirring you into the new day with the warmth of an oversized mug of coffee in hand. As you stretch, greeting the fresh air with a lungful of salty ocean breeze, the camp is already alive with the rhythms of daily life. There's a sense of purpose in the bustling movements of the Norse settlers, making you feel like your part in this grand tale is as vital as hitting the snooze button just one more time. Today, the Viking community is focused on fortifying their presence in Vinland. It's more a demonstration of their inventive spirit than military might, much like rearranging your living room for what feels like the 100th time to achieve that just right feng shui. The sight of fortifications slowly taking shape around their settlement reminds you of teamwork that would probably put a workplace team-building outing to shame. They build with their hands, their minds, and seemingly boundless energy that mirrors the enthusiasm of someone just after their third espresso of the day. You'll find their drive to adapt, to carve out both home and history amid the remote wilderness, simply inspiring. In those first flickers of morning light, the horizon feels a bit nearer with every stake entrenched, every structure that rises. The Norse are here to stay, at least for now, and they're anchoring themselves with the same resolve as when you delete social media apps to focus and then slyly reinstall an hour later. Yet, amid their labor, there's laughter and mischief too. Because what are Vikings without a sprinkle of mirth? It seems their can-do spirit is matched only by their knack for finding joy in the task at hand, like turning mundane chores into competitive feats of strength, complete with claps on the shoulder and inside jokes. Every warrior here doubles as a weaver, a carpenter, and an artisan, a testament to their vastly underestimated creativity and multitasking prowess. It's a bit like finding out your neighbor, who you've only known as a quiet accountant, is secretly an incredible salsa dancer. Here's where it gets curious. Archaeologists are still uncovering quirks of Viking life, like their unexpected use of walrus ivory in crafting. You imagine their relief at discovering this hidden trove of resources, kind of like finding that long-lost box of winter gloves in the closet just in time for a cold snap. And it's true. Such discoveries contribute much to our understanding of their innovation and adaptability in harnessing what the land provides. Historians, however, still ponder whether these settlers always intended to fully settle Vinland, or if their eyes remained focused on temporary gain. A centuries-old debate akin to deciding between a fleeting summer fling or committing to a long-term love affair. Even in their uncertainty, there lies a beauty in the exploration itself, in venturing to the edge of the world, just to see what lies beyond the waves. You wander over to a group of women who are gathered, weaving fabrics with diligent hands, their rhythmic work punctuated by lively chatter. The colors and patterns they create are as intricate as any digital design you'd find on Pinterest today. Their skill and artistry woven within every thread. It's impressive to see such craftsmanship, to touch a piece of history that was once alive in the hands of these very artisans, reminding you just how connected moments in time can be. As the day wears on, and the Vikings continue crafting both their shelter and legacy in Vinland, the air fills with a palpable hum of hope, mixed with the sweet inevitability of evening shadows. The landscape stretches out in all directions, the horizon embracing endless possibilities yet unknown to these settlers, these storytellers, these daring adventurers of history. As you take in the magnitude of their journey, a journey not just of survival, but of curiosity and a desire to leave a mark, the echoes of the past resonate deeply, extending their gentle touch to the present and inviting dreams of what tomorrow may bring. Beneath the same canopy of sky that sheltered the Vikings, you stand rooted, letting the wave of connection sweep over you. The realization that in many ways, we're all explorers, all storytellers, sharing the same stardust that drifts languidly across the heavens. It's in these quiet moments, surrounded by the whispers of history, that you settle into the embrace of the warm, welcoming dusk. As the sky turns to splendor, you let the tranquility wash over, feeling at peace with the stories both told and untold, letting them cradle you gently into the slow, soothing rhythm of night. As the last few colors of sunset bleed into the dusky horizon, the Vikings gather once more by the fire. It crackles softly, casting shadows that waver and sway, with a rhythm as hypnotic as those late-night infomercials that somehow always convince you to buy something you didn't need. The evening wrap around you, warm and familiar, and you find yourself sinking into the stories and laughter, drawn to the comforting glow like a moth to a porch light. Tonight, the stories lean heavily on the adventures and misadventures of their journey across the ocean. These tales, retold in animated gestures and voice, offer a glimpse into the heart of what it meant to be Viking. A life woven tightly with threads of bravery and folly, triumph and loss. The silver-tongued storytellers bring their daring escapades to life in a way that makes you hang on every word as though you're enjoying a late-night Netflix binge. But here's an intriguing twist in our tale. Did you know? Some sagas suggest a Viking named Leif the Lucky inadvertently became the first European to be visited by a UFO, or at least something in the sky he couldn't explain. Historians, of course, are still scratching their heads over whether this was simply an aurora borealis or something more fantastical, kind of like spotting a shooting star and making a wish without ever being entirely sure if it was a satellite instead. And here's a quirky tidbit to chuckle at. These seafaring folks were also quite keen on nicknames, doling them out with the flair of modern-day hashtags. There was Eric the Red, due to his fiery hair and temper, and Snorri the Viking, who, believe it or not, was named for his loud snoring, which could rival the rumble of a Norse storm. Historians still debate whether these epithets influenced their fates or if they were merely attempts at medieval Snapchat streaks. As the night progresses, the stars splatter across the sky like spilled sugar on a countertop, dazzling in their simplicity. You can't help but marvel at the breadth of the Viking spirit, which carries them far from home in the name of exploration, their hearts beating with the same rhythm as the tides that bore them here. It's like they hold the secret to that never-ending question. Are we there yet? Your gaze drifts around the camp as the fire burns brighter against the encroaching night. Different conversations weave in and out, a tapestry of happy voices and shared silences binding everyone together. The sense of unity is palpable, like the feeling when you realize the whole group chat is still awake at 3 a.m. and no one's admitting that they should probably be sleeping instead. Laughter bubbles up, a shared symphony that's as hearty as warm soup on a chilly night. And for a brief moment, you're suspended in time, feeling a connection to these voyagers from so many lifetimes ago. You see them not in their otherworldly context of ancient mariners, but as friends gathered around a fire, people who loved, laughed, and lived boldly against the wild backdrop history provided them. And as these stories breathe life into the quiet night, you drift slowly into a calm, reflective silence, feeling the echoes of their lives stretching across time. The evening winds down softly, wrapping around you like a gentle caress, whispering tales that travel through the ages. The night sinks deeper into its embrace, cradling these whispers of history until they slide seamlessly into dreams, leaving you with the gentle, comforting presence of uncovered histories, weaving you into their ever-unfolding tapestry. The camp sinks into a deep, tranquil quiet, the kind that wraps around you like a heavy quilt on a cold night, absorbing every sound and making the world feel a little bit smaller, a little bit cozier. You find yourself leaning back, supported by nothing but the earth beneath you and the vast sky above, a timeless perspective on life that makes even your most pressing concerns seem like distant echoes, barely audible over the symphony of nature. As the fire crackles down to glowing embers, you find yourself reflecting on the Viking spirit, their daring moves, the way they set sail towards the unknown with little more than pluck and a hearty dose of optimism. Their lives and ours, separated by centuries, were intertwined in a dance of discovery and exploration. Kind of like when you're scrolling through endless TikTok videos, each one a surprise revelation. You never know what you'll stumble upon next. Beneath the gaze of the stars, you sense the weight of their stories, layered like pages in a well-worn diary. It's one thing to read about history, names and dates often seeming as remote as dreams, and another to feel it, pressing in on you with an insistence that can't be ignored. It's funny how the past can feel so real in these quiet moments, a gentle reminder that we too are part of a larger story, unspooling through the ages. Historians still wrestle with questions of the Vikings' legacy in America, a tale half told and wrapped in mystery. There's debate whether the Norse left a real mark on the indigenous cultures they encountered, or whether their mark was as fleeting as footprints in the sand, washed away by the tide. It's the kind of argument you can imagine over Thanksgiving dinner, right after the desserts, but before the centerpieces become makeshift hats. You allow yourself to drift further into these thoughts, sensing the passage of time more acutely with every breath. The past, like the stars, is both impossibly far and intimately close, a delicate balance of contradiction that feels harmoniously right. And as you ponder this, you can't help but wonder about the other interpretations of history, the unsolved puzzles and tales just out of reach, waiting, perhaps, for the right moment to reveal themselves. The night stretches on, each minute a cascade of soft, inevitable closure. The Vikings beside you, their chests rising and falling in gentle synchrony with the rhythm of the sea, remind you that exploration isn't just about finding new places, but about connecting to new ideas, new people. They knew, perhaps more instinctively than we do, that to travel is not just to see, but to feel. Each moment an imprint upon your soul, as tangible as the glow of those embers against the dark night. As sleep begins to weave its magic, the camp rests in a hush that is both sacred and serene, a union of body and spirit caught up in the soft threads of night. With a final, whispered sigh, you close your eyes, slipping gently, dreamily, into that shared ancestral tapestry, where Vikings and dreamers, adventurers and historians all meet and speak in dreams. It's here, in this gentle surrender to slumber, that the stories of yesterday cradle you softly into an eternal now, riding the rhythm of dreams, flickering like the blend of shadows and light that cradle your mind in tender embrace. Morning arrives with a tender touch, slipping over the horizon like a quiet hello. The encampment basks in the glow of first light, a gentle lullaby of colors awakening the world around you. You stir from your slumber, feeling the fresh, crisp air on your face, the same familiar sensation you get when your phone alarm pulls you from a dream too sweet to let go. The Vikings begin their day with the kind of enthusiasm that seems almost medieval in its earnestness, tackling the tasks ahead with purpose, and the kind of camaraderie that makes every shared chore feel a little less burdensome. Watching them, you can't help but admire their unity, their shared resolve, a reminder that even the most daunting task can be softened with the companionship of others, like tackling a particularly stubborn video game boss after half a pizza and a pep talk from a friend. Around the camp, life carries on. Today, there's a focus on gathering resources and preparing for the unpredictable, ever-changing reality that comes with living on the edge of explored territory. The sound of axes biting into wood echoes through the forest, a rhythmic beat adding to nature's own symphony of birdsong and wind through the trees. And here's a strange little twist. The Vikings were known to use walnuts as a kind of portable snack and trading good. But they also used the shells for dyes, creating earthy colors that spoke of the world's natural beauty. It's like finding an alternative use for your empty coffee cans, utilitarian and oddly satisfying. Historians still debate whether the Norse presence had any lasting impact on the land. Their short-lived settlements leaving behind tantalizing artifacts, but little in the way of transformation. Historians ask, were the Vikings just passing through, fueling tales for the sagas back home? Or did they ever intend to stay and sow deeper roots? It's like those social plans you make, knowing full well there's a 50% chance you'll cancel for sweatpants and a movie night at home. As the sun climbs higher, turning the sky into a canvas of soft, warm hues, you float between the dreamy memories of their stories and the vibrant reality of their world. It's hard not to feel a shared connection, as if by merely standing under the same sky, you are linked to their daring adventures, their joys and challenges. And isn't that what history truly is? A collection of shared stories and experiences, connecting us across time like invisible threads. As noon stretches its arms wide, shadows soften under the glow of the sun, settling like contented whispers over the camp. You walk among these inhabitants of Vinland, feeling the gentle tug of curiosity, of exploration. Each moment is painted with a brush of nostalgia and promise, an acknowledgement that these stories, vivid and timeless, continue to echo through the ages. In this blending of past and present, where stories shape dreams and dreams shape the future, you find a certain peace. It's as if you've discovered a portal to a place where the hurried pace of modern life drops away, leaving you to wander in a landscape rich with possibilities, a canvas unrestricted by time. This day, like all those before it, slowly wraps you in its tender embrace, inviting you to rest among the stories, to savor the quiet lessons it imparts. You lie back, letting the sun's warmth seep into your bones, gazing upwards at the clouds drifting lazily across the sky, reveling in the simple, profound connection of it all. Time slows, and for a moment, the weight of history, the lure of adventure, and the comfort of tales told and retold merge into one harmonious symphony, lulling you once more into the soothing rhythm of this sleepy saga. As afternoon gently trickles into evening, the shadows stretch lazily across the landscape, casting long, dancing silhouettes among the trees, as if the forest is whispering secrets to the fading light. You walk through the camp, where warmth and laughter envelop you like the scent of freshly baked bread wafting through an open window. The Vikings, having completed their tasks for the day, gather again by the fire, ready for another round of stories and camaraderie. You find a comfortable spot near the warmth, the glow of the fire painting soft, flickering patterns on familiar faces, friendly shapes that would not be out of place within your own circle of friends, gathered around a cozy cafe table. The air carries the earthy aroma of wood smoke and herbs, mingling with laughter that rises and falls in rhythm with the crackling flames. Amidst this scene, the stories told tonight are woven from the fabric of everyday life and legendary feats, tales that dance on the edge of reality and myth. They speak of gods and creatures, heroes and everyday warriors, retelling adventures with such enthusiasm that you swear you can hear Thor's mighty hammer echoing in the distance. You chuckle as they recall one of their more comical endeavors, a fishing trip gone hilariously awry, where the biggest catch turned out to be a pair of tangled boots. And here's an amusing tidbit that sidles into the conversation. In their voyaging, the Vikings sometimes brought cats aboard their ships, not just as captains of rodent control, but also as companions. You picture them curled next to the hearth, purring contentedly, with the aura of dignified aloofness that's been a hallmark of felines since time immemorial. You imagine if they had Instagram, it would be full of shots of majestic tabby faces overseeing the seas, captioned with historic feline wisdom. The Vikings share their stories, each one sparkling with new details as if touched by the evening's magic. They marvel at the vastness of the seas they crossed, bound for unknown shores, driven by the promise of new lands and dreams, each one stripped bare of the modern trappings of convenience and comfort. Historians still debate whether these voyages were guided by divine inspiration or simple wanderlust, a question as timeless as asking whether we hit snooze out of laziness or because we're simply too cozy to care. The conversations ebb and flow like a gentle tide, and you lose yourself within the harmony of shared voices, the feeling that you are part of something ancient and yet entirely new. The tales spark your imagination, and you drift into a place where past and present meet in a waltz as graceful and slow as the settling dusk. Night falls, not with a crash, but a whisper, calling forth the stars that dust the sky like sugar on a pastry. Every gleam, a distant thought illuminating the growing darkness. The conversation lingers, melding into the night air as you look up to the heavens, feeling the soft pull of history and the stories that brought you here. You let the calm of the evening settle over you, a gentle reminder of the enduring power of stories to connect us across time and space. In this quiet sharing of tales, you find yourself wrapped in the comforting embrace of history's long arc, feeling it cradle you as easily as the gentle rock of a boat on tranquil waters. And as your eyes grow heavy, lulled by the melodic notes of wind and fire, you surrender to sleep once more, dreaming of the Norse voyagers carving their path through time. They whisper their tales to you amid the rustle of leaves and the murmuring sea. Stories that continue to enchant and inspire, just waiting to be awakened by another eager dreamer beneath the same endlessly winking stars. The night cradles the camp with an ethereal hush, like a lullaby hummed softly by an ancient, gentle giant. You've drifted into a dreamscape where the boundaries of reality gently blur, leaving behind the tangible concerns of the day, much like setting down a particularly long to-do list in exchange for an impromptu nap on a Sunday afternoon. In this serene space, the Vikings' tales unravel in a tapestry of dreams that sway through your mind, their threads as intricate and colorful as the patterns woven by the women of the camp. Each story is a soft whisper that tickles your subconscious, inviting you to explore the richer textures of a world both familiar and fantastical. Beneath the canopy of stars, you join the ancient explorers on their wooden longship, the sails billowing gracefully above you, catching the winds with an ease that defies explanation. The boat glides over the sea, the water shimmering like a vast stretch of sequined fabric, every ripple catching and refracting starlight in unpredictable patterns. On such a night, the ocean feels like a living tapestry, its movements a dance both ancient and fluid. And just when you think the journey couldn't get any more surreal, there's the gentle thrill of uncovering something oddly comical amidst the depth of history: the Vikings' fascination with walrus hunting. Apparently, they harvested not just for sustenance, but to obtain tusks, the ivory of which was then traded far and wide. You can almost picture them, like intrepid entrepreneurs, dragging their goods to market with the determination of a small business owner peddling handmade, organic goods at your local market. Historians continue scratching their heads over the true extent of the Vikings' ventures into these new worlds, pondering how far and wide they spread their influence. Did they leave mere wisps of presence, like footnotes on the pages of history, or did their echoes reach further than we know, weaving into the framework of the cultures they encountered? As these thoughts swim through your sleepy mind, the endless question of connection and legacy looms, a gentle reminder that, like the Vikings, we are all part of something bigger than ourselves. Each choice and action creates ripples that spread into the unseen reaches of the future, linking each moment in time with threads unseen but deeply felt. In this dreamlike reverie, you feel the resonance of their journey, the underlying heartbeat of exploration that drove them across treacherous waters to lands unknown. It's a reflection of humanity's innate desire to understand, to capture the ineffable and transform it into something tangible, much like trying to frame a sunset with a camera's lens, knowing that the image will never capture its fleeting, breathtaking beauty in the same way. The camp settles into an even deeper silence, broken only by the gentle rhythm of breathing and the soft rustle of leaves caught in a night breeze. You find yourself somewhere between waking and sleeping, the stories cradling you gently like a rocking boat on a calm sea. Their echoes reach into your dreams, weaving through the night with an intimacy that is at once comforting and alluring. whispering across time in gentle, ancient tongues. This peaceful symphony envelops you, drawing you into its reverie. A sleep where the stories of the past continue to whisper softly, cradled by the stars that have watched over the earth for aeons. Here, in the soft embrace of night, you find solace in these shared stories. Their echoes, a reminder that even the oldest tales can inspire new dreams. That history itself is a living, breathing entity, always ready to welcome dreamers into its eternal embrace. As dawn breaks with a gentle splash of colors across the sky, painting the world anew, the camp begins to stir, much like a cozy cat stretching and yawning after a long, restful nap. You find yourself awakening to the sounds of morning, soft conversations, the rhythmic clink of tools being gathered, and the distant call of seabirds, their cries mingling with the rustle of leaves in the cool breeze. It's like nature's own alarm clock, gently cooing you into a new day. Today feels different. In that way, mornings sometimes do, promising that something new and unexpected lies just around the corner. The Vikings have gathered by the shore, their silhouettes bold against the shimmering expanse of water. Faces turned toward the horizon as if anticipating another chapter of adventure. You join them, the sand cool beneath your feet, the sea's briny scent filling your lungs with each breath, as invigorating as the first sip of a perfectly brewed morning coffee. As they prepare their ships, there's an awe-inspiring symmetry to their movements, a flowing dance of coordination that speaks to years spent honing their skills on countless voyages over uncertain seas. Their actions are instinctive, graceful in their practicality, and you watch in admiration, likening it to watching skilled chefs in a bustling kitchen, each adding their unique flourish to a culinary masterpiece. Among their preparations, a curious find captures your attention. An ornate, well-worn comb carved from bone, a simple yet exquisite artifact hinting at the Vikings' unexpected appreciation for personal grooming and aesthetics. It's a quirky reminder that even the fiercest warriors had their moments of vanity, concerned with untangled hair as much as untangled oars. Historians still debate the motives and impacts of these Viking voyages, whether they were strategic expansions or driven by sheer curiosity. Were these expeditions stemmed from necessity or nurtured by the tantalizing allure of the unknown? The thrill of adventure is as timeless as the desires these ancient mariners sought to fulfill, an echo of our own aspirations to unravel the mysteries of the vast, ever-expanding world. As the familiar creak of wood and the distant splash of waves fill your ears, you sense the anticipation in the air, thick enough to taste. This is the Vikings' legacy, a tapestry of adventure and discovery that spans countless generations, whispering tales of bravery and daring whenever waves lap against the shore. It's a legacy rooted in stories so vibrant and enduring, they seem to flit about like the seagulls dancing overhead. The ships are ready, each one a testament to the craftsmanship and enduring spirit of the Norse. You watch as the crew embarks once more, their departure a bittersweet melody where notes of longing and hope meld seamlessly. Their sails catch the first hints of the morning breeze, billowing outwards with gentle grace, as if the sea itself is guiding them forward, beckoning to far-off lands yet to be discovered. Standing on the shore, you feel the weight of these momentous journeys, aware of the stories written on every capricious wave and every gust of wind that propels them onward. You understand that you are witness to not just a voyage, but to the awakening of dreams, an unbroken circle of exploration that transcends time and space. The day unfolds gently, soft sunlight shimmering across the water, painting the scene in hues both delicate and bold. As the ships become mere specks on the horizon, your heart is filled with the knowledge that these passages will continue, echoing the call of adventure, an eternal invitation to step boldly into the unknown, embracing its beauty with open arms and an open heart. As you turn back to the now quieter camp, you carry the essence of their stories with you. Whispers of ancient sagas laced with laughter and bravery. The gentle hum of dreams guiding your every step. And as the day stretches on, you'll feel that enduring connection to the explorers from long ago, comforting in its continuity as you traverse the paths they once did, dreaming with your own gaze set firmly on distant horizons. With the Vikings now set off on their voyage, the camp falls into a serene rhythm, echoing the lull of waves that have long since vanished over the horizon. You wander back through the well-worn paths, between the now silent tents, each step unearthing memories etched into the soil by those who came before. The sun climbs higher, casting soft shadows and warming the earth, its rays like little whispers of encouragement, urging you to delve deeper into the stories left behind. As the afternoon stretches out, with the languid ease of a cat basking in warm sunlight, you find yourself drawn to the remnants of daily life that pepper the campsite. Scattered here and there, you notice the artifacts of lives once lived, tools, pottery, and even small carved toys. One such discovery is a tiny gaming piece, perhaps used in a game of strategy that rivals today's chess or checkers, a reminder that even in ancient times, leisure and play were cherished parts of life. You imagine them gathered around, strategizing and laughing, absorbed in play that offers a brief respite from the uncertainties of exploration. Historians still puzzle over the full extent of the Vikings' stay in North America, debating whether these settlements were fleeting outposts or part of a larger, more ambitious endeavor. Did the Norsemen view these shores as a permanent home or merely another waypoint on their endless journey? These questions linger like hanging mist, lending an air of mystery to this land, where time weaves tales as rich as the stories spun around campfires. It's the kind of historical debate that's as engaging as trying to unravel the mystery of a film's ambiguous ending. The sunlight begins its descent, casting long golden fingers across the landscape, turning everything into a soft, glowing tapestry of shadow and light. The gentle sway of trees and the rustle of wind through leaves form a hypnotic chorus to accompany your reflections. It's a moment to pause and marvel at how history has left its mark, offering glimpses of lives both extraordinarily different and surprisingly similar to our own. As evening tiptoes closer, you find yourself reminiscing about the Viking women, fierce, strong, and vital to these expeditions, yet often forgotten in history's grand narrative. These women, who deftly managed households, cared for children, and even took up arms if necessary, were integral to Viking society. Their roles were as essential as the heartbeat of the ocean itself, whispering a truth that resounds today. That adventure in exploring the unknown is a pursuit fueled not by one, but by many hopeful hearts, united in a dream. The shadows lengthen, embracing the camp in a warm, gentle glow, much like the comforting embrace of a favorite sweater. You come to rest near the remains of what was once a communal hearth, feeling the lingering warmth of togetherness and shared stories. It's a kind of magic that transcends centuries. This simple enduring human need to gather and share. As dusk settles in, you tilt your head back and gaze up at the sky, watching the stars come alive, twinkling like distant, ancient jewels. Each one seems to hold a story, a bright thread in the fabric of history, binding past and present together. You realize that the stars these Vikings once used to guide their travels are the very same dots of light illuminating your world now, a comforting constant in an ever-flowing river of time. With that thought, you breathe deeply, letting the stories of the past wrap around you like a cloak, feeling their weight in the cool evening air. You close your eyes, listening to the gentle harmonies of the night, and allow yourself to drift into a place where memories and dreams entwine, cradled in the hushed embrace of history. A place where time, like the sea, offers no conclusions but allows you to wander freely, carried on the tides of imagination and wonder. As the stars settle into their places, twinkling with age-old familiarity, the camp finds itself in a hushed reverence that only night can bring. The quiet is peaceful, a soothing balm that blankets everything in its serene embrace, like the gentle rustling of pages as you sink into a well-worn book. This night echoes with the same sense of wonder that lured the Vikings across the sea, blending mystery with tranquility in a harmony that feels timeless. In this sleep-laden air, where time seems to stretch into eternity, you ponder the legacy left by these bold explorers, the invisible threads they wove into the tapestry of history, each decision, each heartbeat carrying ripples through the ages. It's a thought that catches you in its gentle grasp, like a melody that haunts the edges of your consciousness, refusing to dim into silence. Amidst this reflection, you recall how the Norse people, despite their formidable reputations as warriors and raiders, were also skilled traders and craftsmen. They exchanged goods across continents, as eager to share their own culture as they were to absorb new influences, a kind of curiosity that echoes today's global exchange of memes and cultural tidbits. And so, the question lingers: how much of their world mingled with the indigenous cultures they encountered here? Did these interactions leave marks on both that we can't quite see in historical records? Historians still mull over these potential connections, their debates vibrant and varied, each theory a brushstroke in the broader canvas of Viking lore. It's an enigma as enticing as a puzzle whose final piece seems just beyond reach, urging you to peer closer, think deeper. A bit like those late-night rabbit holes that start with a simple question, leading to hours of browsing and pondering life's small curiosities. Your thoughts drift like the shifting clouds overhead, finding solace in the universality of yearning for knowledge, understanding, and connection. Under the expansive dome of night, there's a reassuring constancy to the stars, mirrored in the shared tales passed down through generations, a reminder that while the faces in the stories change, the human spirit remains unyieldingly curious. Nestled in these reflections, the stories take on a dreamlike quality, merging with your own sleepy wanderings as you sway between waking and dreaming. The Viking saga is a shared narrative now, a river to float upon, its currents lapping at the edges of consciousness, gently carrying you toward the promise of slumber. As the night deepens, cradling you in its gentle embrace, the sky feels like a quilt stitched with the dreams of every soul who's ever felt the call of the horizon. In this sacred space, time unravels slowly, giving way to infinite possibilities, wrapped in the soothing shadows of night. Here, every thought is drawn by the soft undercurrent of dreams, each possibility blinking to life like a star kissed by the night's gentle breath. With a quiet sigh, you yield to the whispers of sleep, feeling the stories weave their way into your resting mind. The gentle hum of the night follows you into your dreams, guiding you along paths untraveled, offering corridors of imagination and echoes of ancient laughter. A journey wherein every whispered secret from the past dances lightly across your soul. And so, you drift deeper into the sphere of dreams, enfolded by history's tender embrace, untethered and free to explore the realms of possibility and wonder. Here, amidst the tapestry of the past, present, and future, everything feels connected. The lineage of story, a thread that binds us all. In the quietude of sleep, you find contentment in this shared legacy, basking in the silky, endless night. As dawn's first light peeks over the horizon, gently nudging the world back to wakefulness, the camp stirs with a quiet energy, much like that blissful moment when you first open your eyes to a new day, wrapped in the remnants of dreams. The air is filled with the chatter of seabirds and the soft rustling of the forest, mingling with the aroma of the earth warmed by the sun, a sweet reminder of nature's perpetual rhythm. The early risers among the Norse begin their morning rituals, their movements deliberate yet relaxed, as if each action holds its own place in the delicate tapestry of camp life. Their efforts in crafting tools or preparing for the day's endeavors mirror the simple pleasure of savoring a first cup of coffee, where the world slows down just enough to appreciate the small wonders around you. In the light of a new day, the familiar landscape feels renewed, each detail sharpened by the sun's golden touch. You venture to the edge of the camp, where the sea laps gently at the shore, rhythmic and unhurried, a bookend to the untold stories of the night. It's in these quiet moments that you feel the unbroken connection to the world around you, as if every gentle wave and rustle brings forth whispers from across time. Today's focus, as it often is with the Norse, revolves around both survival and exploration, a delicate balance akin to juggling your many browser tabs, each one essential, yet demanding its own attention. The Vikings prepare for another venture inland, eager to chart new territories, each adventure promising the allure of discovery. And here's a fun, quirky aside. Among the relics left behind by Viking expeditions, archaeologists have found evidence of ancient board games, suggesting they carried their love of play across oceans. Imagine the excitement of a heated contest on the deck of a rocking ship. Laughter and friendly rivalry softening the journey's hardships. Much like spontaneous game nights, called on with old friends, turning ordinary evenings into cherished memories. Historians still debate the depths to which Viking settlements really flourished in these new worlds, questioning what legacy, if any, they left behind. Did they blend with the existing cultures, leaving traces that are subtle and woven into the fabric of time? This lingering question feels as timeless as pondering future echoes in your own life. The stories that transcend generations, passed along as whispers of memory and hope. The morning wears on, filled with the bustle and rhythm of camp life, each task interwoven with the quiet hum of camaraderie. This place, this moment, feels suspended in its own gentle version of forever, a chapter written in the book of history, where lives are lived with a quiet awe for the unknown. Here, Every action becomes a part of their ongoing saga, and it's wonderfully humbling to think that you, too, are a part of this story, breathing life into those distant dreams. As the sun arcs across the sky, signaling the inevitable close of another day in Vinland, you are comforted by the constancy of time, the way stories and experiences ripple outward, touching lives even in their silence. The day winds down with the sweet symbol of shared dinners, laughter carried on the wind, and the certain knowledge that new adventures await. You find yourself again at the water's edge as the sun dips low, allowing the waves to carry away the day's remnants, delicately folding them into the surf's lullaby. Leaning back, you allow the colors of the sunset to wash over you, each hue a promise of dreams yet to come. As night descends anew, you close your eyes, the whispers of Viking tales brushing softly against the corners of your mind, inviting you to rest. In this gentle embrace of dusk, the understanding of history as a living story, one that carries through every heartbeat, every breath, is profound and calming. And so, cradled by the rhythm of ancient tales, you slip into sleep once more, carried forward into the landscapes of dreams by the timeless echo of those who dared to journey across the sea in search of new beginnings beneath the stars.